For several years now, Tiamat has appeared in my quantum hypnosis sessions as a real dragon consciousness, connected to the earth. Not as a symbolic archetype or a simple mythological figure, but as a living multidimensional presence perceived independently by different people. My name is Virginie, and I have been working with quantum hypnosis for about 10 years. Very early in my sessions, dragons spontaneously started appearing, and today they have a central place in my work. Among them, there is Tiamat, a consciousness that has been coming back regularly for several years now. She is also at the center of Chapter 8 in my book, Chronicles of a Dragon Rider. In this audio today, I'm going to explain who Tiamat is according to my direct experience, how she appears in my work with dragons, and why her name also appears in ancient texts. This podcast lays the foundations for understanding what Tiamat really is, a cosmic dragon consciousness connected to the earth, to planetary balance, and to life itself. So in my experience, Tiamat is a real dragon, a living being existing in a non-physical dimension, directly connected to the consciousness of the earth. She's not just a symbolic figure. She's a multidimensional cosmic presence that several people perceive independently from one another, always with the same energetic signature, a calm, luminous, and sovereign force. In the chapter dedicated to her in Chronicles of a Dragon Rider, she appears during a hypnosis session first as a giant dragon queen, and later even as a sphinx. She presents herself as the queen of the dragons and the guardian of temples and ancient secrets. She teaches balance between power and kindness, between action and wisdom. Her vibration is really not emotional or dramatical. It's very structured and very grounded. And she really acts through information and frequency. So one of the things that come back very often in my sessions is the idea that every planet has its own consciousness and that one or several dragons act as its guardian. But before talking about that, I wanted to read you a little passage of my book, the chapter 8, where Tiamat is explaining to us what her role is. So in the book, page 239, chapter 8, I'm asking Simon, my co-writer, so is Tiamat the guardian of the earth? And he says, yes, apparently, as if she were assigned to the earth. She takes care of it. That's the impression I get. She oversees, she watches over the earth. All right, why does she watch over the earth? Virginie asked. What's there to watch over? The Dragoness answered the question while continuing to circle me. She says, I preserve the atmosphere, all things biological, living beings, climates, balance, vibrations, and temperature variations depending on the Earth's activity. I try to manage all that. I have other beings of light under my orders if you want to see it from a hierarchical perspective. A bit before that passage, she also explains why she shows herself as a sphinx to Simon. And she says, the sphinx is an enigmatic creature, guardian of the temples and secrets. So actually Tiamat doesn't have any particular appearance, and she can be anything she wants to show you. She's a cosmic dragon, so she has no She doesn't have any specific appearance. She doesn't have any specific look, any specific color. She's just pure vibration, pure dragon consciousness. So I was telling you that one of the things that come back very often in my sessions is the idea that every planet has its own consciousness and that one or several dragons act as its guardians. Well, this is the case with Tiamat. This kind of dragons, they participate in the vibrational stability of worlds. They regulate energetic fields and accompany planetary transition. So some of those planets are dragon consciousness. So I'm not saying that Gaia, our Earth, is a dragon consciousness, but other planets are, and Tiamat was one of them. I will talk about it in another podcast. So in other words, on other planes of existence, the planet and the dragon are one and the same. Tiamat here represents this function on a cosmic scale. She's what I call a primordial dragon, both creator and guardian. Primordial dragons can be considered as cosmic dragons. They are so far away from us that we cannot even imagine how they can be, but most of my clients have seen them as pure light, pure energetic field, kind of flying into the cosmos, between the planets, between the galaxies. These dragons can blow life into the planets, into the stars, into the universe. So this is why Tiamat is often perceived as a cosmic mother, in the sense of an original intelligence, connected to life and on many worlds. So what I share here today does not come from my own beliefs. It comes from repeated observations over several years through different hypnosis sessions with people who did not know each other. What is really rare and remarkable with Tiamat in my work is that most of the time the dragons that are showing up in sessions are personal dragon, connected, related to the clients I facilitate session for. But Tiamat, she comes back in the session not being related personally to these people. So it shows that there is something bigger with this dragon, like a collective purpose. So now I want to talk about the ancient texts. You probably know Tiamat from the Sumerian and Babylonian texts, especially in the creation myth called the Enuma Elish. In this poem, Tiamat is described as a primordial sea, the source of life and the mother of all gods. And she's betrayed by her own children and confronted by the god Marduk, who kills her and creates heaven and earth from her body. And this myth has often been interpreted as a battle between good and evil. But when we take a look at it from an energetic perspective, we can understand that it speaks about a change in balance, probably some kind of new balance between the feminine and the masculine energy. It's the moment when the creative feminine, like fluid energy, intuitive and alive consciousness, was replaced by a wounded masculine energy trying to dominate, structure and control. So, in other words, the myth of Marduk and Tiamat tells the story of the loss of unity between masculine and feminine energies, rather than the victory over one over the other. So now, why is talking about Tiamat relevant today? Because Tiamat is not only a mythological figure. She's a living consciousness connected to the earth and to many worlds. Her role is to maintain the energetic stability of the planet and accompany its vibrational evolution. And she carries the dragon vibration. In some hypnosis sessions, she represents herself as the guardian of Gaia, making sure that the earth remains aligned with the higher planes of creation. She also works on an individual level. She accompanies people reconnecting with dragons. So Tiamat has connected several times with my clients during quantum hypnosis session, and she brings healing, she brings balance, she brings messages, and she mostly brings reassurance and love. So Tiamat is not a vengeful figure. It's not a destructive figure. It's a mother dragon, actually. One of those dragons that are creators of worlds, protectors of planets. Her energy actually helps people reconnect with inner power without domination. She helps create without the need to possess and to reconcile strength and softness. She's here to teach us about balance. She teaches what I personally call peaceful sovereignty, being centered, aligned, and strong without forcing anything, And dragons as a whole share this same force. Because Tiamat herself does not work alone. She explained this in the chapter dedicated to her in Chronicles of a Dragon Rider. The dragons are not here to impose anything. They are here to restore balance. And Tiamat is almost like the foundational consciousness behind this work. She acts on a planetary level, but also on a cosmic level, connected to other inhabited worlds and other cosmic dragons. So in this audio, I mainly wanted to introduce the foundations and this fascinating and very deep subject. I wanted to give you a clear vision of who Tiamat is, a real multidimensional dragon connected to the earth and to creation itself, a mother to us as a human. She's not especially a queen. She says in Chronicles of a Dragon Rider, at first she presents herself, she's kind of a queen of the dragons, but then further on the text she explains that this is only words that are used for us to understand her role and her position and her responsibilities in a way. So this subject is very vast and touches cosmology, planetary memory, and also the return of the divine feminine into collective consciousness. This subject is much larger than what I can cover in a single audio, and in the future I'd like to explore it more deeply through additional videos and teachings. Because there is a lot to say about Tiamat's cosmic role, the planet Tiamat, which I did not discuss in this audio, and what ancient mythological texts say about her and the symbolism surrounding this goddess, her connection with dragons and the different planes of life, and the meaning of her presence around the earth today. So the main thing I wanted to say in this audio is that for me Tiamat is not a legend or a symbol. She's not a goddess either. She's not a vengeful entity. She's not particularly a queen. She's a real dragon consciousness living in another dimension and still acting today for the earth and the balance of worlds. She's a cosmic dragon acting among other cosmic dragons throughout our universe, and she's personally related to our planet, to the earth, because of its history, and this is what I'm going to talk about in the second audio about Tiamat. Her return to human consciousness marks the moment when we begin reconnecting creation and consciousness again, the feminine and the masculine. Tiamat is a protector and a mother of worlds and planets, and she works alongside many other dragons and light beings. So if you'd like to discover the hypnosis session where she appears, you can read the chapter dedicated to her in Chronicles of a Dragon Rider. I'll put the link below. And if this subject speaks to you, subscribe to this YouTube channel and follow me on Facebook, where I share more about dragons and my work with dragons through quantum hypnosis. All the links are below the video. Thank you so much for listening to this audio. I'm looking forward to exploring this subject more deeply in future videos and sharing more of my research and experiences with you. Thank you very much. I'll see you in the next audio. Bye.